Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Jamuna Tiravarachari. Jamuna Tiravarachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Kishoranana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tiravarachari. Jamuna Tiravarachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Sri Sri Radha Madhava ki. Jai Nitya Leela Vishnu Vishnupada Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Iskcon Samsavakacharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananda Guri Vaishnavrinda ki. Sadgoswami Prabhu ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki. Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Bolo Sri Sri Krishna Baldev ki. Jai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Assembly of Body. All glories to the Assembly of Body. All glories to the Assembly of Body. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, text number 14 to 17. Tadvipa pati prayavato rajan hiranyareta nama swam dvipam satabhya swapam putrevyo yatha bhagavan vibhajya swayam topa anista. No. Ati sata vasu vasudana Drida ruchi nabi gupta stuya vrata vivikta vamadeva nabhyabha. O king, another son of Maharaj Priyavata, Hiranyareta, was the king of this island. He divided it into 7 parts, which he delivered to his 7 sons, according to the rights of inheritance. The king then retired from family life to engage in austerities. The name of those sons were Vasu, Vasudhana, Dridaruchi, Stuyavrata, Nabhigupta, Vivikta, and Vamadeva. So we're hearing about the geography of the universe. The text number 15. Again, there's no meter, so we'll just... Te sambarsesu sima girayo nadyas chapi gyataha sapta saptaiva chakras Chatusringa Kapilas Chitrakuto Devanika Urdhva Roma Dravina Iti Rasakulya Madhukulya Mitravinda Srutavinda Devagarbha Grityahena Grita Chuta Mantramaleti. In those 7 islands, there are 7 boundary mountains, known as Chakra, Chatusringa, Kapila, Chitrakuta, Devanika, Urdhvaroma, and Dravina. There are also 7 rivers known as Ramakulya, Madhukulya, Mitravindra, Srutavinda, Devagarbha, Grityachyuta, and Mantramala. Text number 16. Yasam payobi kusadvipapokosa kushalako vidya viyukta kulaka samya bhagavantam jitavreda sarupinam karma koshalena yajante. Translation: the inhabitants of the island of Kusadvip are celebrated as the Kushalas, Kovidas, Abhiyuktas, and Kulakas. They are like the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, respectively. By bathing in the water of those rivers, they all become purified. They are expert in performing ritualistic ceremonies according to the orders of the Vedic scriptures. Thus they worship the Lord in his aspect as a demigod of fire. And finally, text number 17. Parasya Brahmana Sakaj Jatu Vedasi Havyavat Devanam Purusanganam Yagena Purusham Yajeti. Translation: this is the mantra by which the inhabitants of Kusadvip worship the fire god. O fire god, you are part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hare, and you carry to him all the offerings of the sacrifices. Therefore, we request you to offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead the yogic ingredients we are offering the demigods, for the Lord is a real enjoyer. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The demigods are servants who assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one worships the demigods as servants of the Supreme carry the sacrificial offerings to the Lord. Like tax collectors collecting revenue from the citizens and bringing it to the government's treasury. The demigods cannot accept the sacrificial offerings. They simply carry the offerings to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasadam. Since the Guru is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he carries to the Lord whatever is offered to him. Similarly, all the demigods as faithful servants of the Supreme Lord, hand over the Supreme Lord whatever is offered to them in sacrificial performings. There is no fault in worshipping the demigods with this understanding, but to think that the demigods are independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and equal to Him is called Ritta-jnana, loss of intelligence. We know from Bhagavad Gita, Kama is taistaya Ritta-jnana. One who thinks that the demigods themselves are the actual benefactors is mistaken. Translation of verse 17 again. This is the mantra by which the inhabitants of Kusadweep worship the fire god. O fire god, you are a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hare, and you carry to Him all the offerings of sacrifices. Therefore, we request you to offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead the yogic ingredients we are offering the demigods, for the Lord is the real enjoyer. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanangana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapanandigam Adadanas Trinandantai Vridamya Che Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambuju Dulisyam Janma Janmanim Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyasta Kripasinubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual masters opened my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances to His lotus feet. So here again we have this theme that the Lord is the supreme enjoyer. We know that famous verse, Bhoktaram Jagatavasam. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So here the residents of Kusadweep, they're offering to the fire god, but as a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hare. Nowadays people think that the different demigods are independent gods. But this is a faulty understanding. Therefore it says here, their main fault is, what is that? Kama is taisir ritta-jnana. This is a nice verse in 7th chapter, verse 20. Well, here it is. Kamais taisya ritta-jnana prapadyante yadevata tam tam niyamam astaya prakrita niyata swaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires Rita Jnana means their intelligence, Rita, is twisted. They think that the demigods are independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a very false understanding. And Prabhupada explains very nicely here. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Purport. Those who are freed from all material contamination surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in His devotional service. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off, they are by nature non-devotees. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature. Because of approaching the right goal, they soon become free from all material lust. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is pure devotee and is free from all material desires, or is full of all material desires, or desires liberation from material condemnation, he should in all cases surrender unto Vasudeva and worship him. This is stated in Bhagavatam, Canto 2, verse 3, chapter 3, verse 10. This is a very, very famous verse. You should all know this verse by heart. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama, that's the position of the devotees. They have no material desire. We cannot stamp out desire, because desire is the nature of the living entity. We're not living entities unless we have desire. One time, Prabhupada in lecture, he said, if people say to realize God means you become silent. He said, like a dead stone. So if to realize God means to become like a dead stone, I do not care to know what is God. If to realize God means to become like a dead stone, then I do not care to know what is God. We cannot stamp out desire completely, but we can change our desire. Therefore, Rupa Goswami, when he describes bhakti, anya vilasitam sunyam. He says anya. Anya means other. Anya vilas, avilas, means desire, wish. Anya avilasa sunyam. Make all other desires sunya, empty, except for the desire to please Krishna. Anya vilasita shunyam. You give up all of these things. Therefore it says here, kama karma sabhava, whether you're akama, without desire, or full of material desires, or moksha kama, desires of liberation. Tivrena bhakti yoga, with great endeavor one should practice bhakti. Because that will eventually purify all the material desires out of our hearts. Akama sarva kama, when it's filled with all desires. Moksha karma dharati tivrena, with great endeavor. Less intelligent people who have lost their spiritual sense take shelter of demigods for immediate fulfillment of material desires. Generally, such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are in the lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, and therefore worship various demigods. Following the rules and regulations of worship, they are satisfied. The worship of demigods are motivated by small desires and do not know how to reach the supreme goal. But a devotee of the Supreme Lord is not misguided, because in Vedic literature there are recommendations for worshipping gods for different purposes. For example, a diseased person is recommended to worship the sun. Those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes, demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the master of all. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ora Sabya Britya. Ekale Ishvara Krishna. The only master is Krishna. Ekale Ishvara. The only controller is Krishna. Ora Sabha Britya. Britya means servant. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna, Ara Sabya Britya, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the master and all others are servants. Therefore, a pure devotee never goes to the demigods for satisfaction of his material desires. He depends on the Supreme Lord, and the pure devotee is satisfied with whatever Krishna gives. So this is very important instruction for us, for all of us, that although there is recommendation to worship different demigods, Krishna, he can fulfill all desires. He's Supreme Personality. Actually, the demigods, we've been, Prabhupada is explaining over and over again, the demigods are not independent in satisfying our desires. They depend on Krishna. So even if we have material desire, if we approach Krishna, he may take some time. People worship demigods because very easily they get their material desires satisfied. Very quickly. Krishna may take some time. He may satisfy that desire. But on the way, by worshipping Krishna, we lose all material desires. Just like last time we discussed about Dhruva Maharaj. He was desiring a kingdom greater than his grandfather. His grandfather is Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma is the engineer of the whole universe. So he wanted something greater than that. But when he finally saw Krishna, Swami Kritartosmi Varamriyate. Now I'm fully satisfied. I don't want anything. Still Krishna was so kind, he gave him his ordinary kingdom of his father. And then afterwards he gave him that Dhruvaloka planet. That one planet that all the other planets move around. That is the Dhruvaloka. That is the Vaikuntha planet. He wanted something better than Brahma. It's the only thing better than what Brahma had. Brahma has the whole universe. So, or at least one universe anyway. So better than that was Vaikuntha. The Dhruvaloka is not a material planet, it's a spiritual planet. So Dhruva Maharaj, therefore, this is the proper way, we're reading about these residents of Kusadweep, that they're worshipping Agnidev. They're saying, you are part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you carry the offerings to the Supreme Lord. Bhoktaram Jagatapasam. The real enjoyer of fruits of all sacrifice is the Supreme Lord. Even the Guru, Prabhupada explains here, even the Guru, whatever he gets, he offers to the Supreme Lord. Just like in the very beginning, Brahmananda, he had some job and he saw all the other devotees were just hanging out in the temple not doing anything. So he asked Prabhupada, should I quit my job? The Prabhu said, no, you should do your duty and offer the money to Krishna. The Brahman said, how do I offer it to Krishna? You give it to me, I will offer it to Krishna. Because the Guru has no material desire, he only wants to please Krishna. Everybody else is trying to exploit. If you have some money, you'll soon find that you have so many friends. As soon as you lose all your money, you have no friends or family. Like Prabhupada. We had the example of Prabhupada. As soon as all his businesses failed, then all family, everybody left him. And Krishna explains that actually, so when I actually favor, I take everything away. We gave the example last time, just like there was an old lady, she was carrying a bundle of sticks on her head and it fell off. And she said, hey Bhagwan, hey Bhagwan. So Krishna appeared. He said, what can I do for you? Put this bag of sticks back on my head. Just like on one side of the river, everybody was carrying heavy loads. On the other side of the river, everybody saw Lord Chaitanya and his devotees. They were dancing and chanting. So somebody thought, well, let me go there. So they went in the river with their heavy load and they drowned. You have to give up your heavy load. Then surrender to Lord Chaitanya. Don't pray for the same thing that's entangled you in this material world, so many material facilities. Don't pray for that. Just like one time in the old Hyderabad temple, Achyutananda, he was sannyasi at that time, he saw one young boy come. And he saw that he was praying very sincerely before the deity. So he was curious. He asked that young boy, what are you praying for? Well, I need 100 rupees, so I'm praying for 100 rupees. Achyutananda said, you're praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The husband of the goddess of fortune. He has everything. Why are you praying for something like this? 100 rupees. So that boy was, again, he saw I was praying. So Achyutananda, now what are you praying for? He said 600 rupees. So we don't want to be like that. The residents of Kusasvi, they know that Agni is one part of the universal form of the Supreme Personality Godhead. And he carries their offerings to the Lord. They state it very clearly. But mostly in this Kali Yuga, everybody thinks that the demigods are independent gods. And especially they're afraid of Krishna. I went to Malaysia one time. And many, many Tamils are there. So they all worship Amma. They said, why don't you worship Krishna? No, no, he'll take everything away. And I saw in all the Sindhi temples, they were worshipping Radha and Krishna, but Krishna didn't have a flute. I said, why doesn't Krishna have a flute? Oh, that flute, he'll blow all your wealth away. But compared to, that's how he became a devotee. They said, Bhavananda was preaching to me, he said, here you'll get eternity, bliss and knowledge, And outside is only birth, death, disease, and old age. And I thought there's no choice whether to become a devotee or not. What is the choice between birth, death, disease, and old age? And eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And then it was Janmashtami day. In those days we didn't know we were supposed to break the fast with Ekadasi feast and have a big grain feast the next day. In those days we had everything, puri, pakora, samosa, sweet rice, halva, everything on the same day at midnight, after midnight. I don't know how we survived eating all that at midnight. And they didn't even have a temple at that time. They were just staying with some hippies in a log cabin outside of Boulder. And they used to go to there was one park in Boulder City called Central Park. So they used to go there and chant. And they told everyone that tomorrow's Janmashtami, Krishna's birthday, we're going to have a big 25-course vegetarian feast. So everybody said, yeah, we'll come out there and fast with you and feast with you. But nobody came. Hardly anybody made it out there. Only I went back with the devotees. And somehow or other my friend Srivas, at that time he was Sunshine, but he later became Srivas. But somehow he managed to hitchhike out there. There was something to do in Boulder. So only two of us came, and there was 5 devotees. There was Bhavananda, his wife Palika, there was Sachi Devi, there was Harinama, and his wife Prabhavati. 5 devotees and 2 guests, and they prepared this huge feast. And they kept saying, take more, this is spiritual food, we can't waste it. This is at midnight, after midnight. So I was eating so much prasadam, and finally I was leaning against the wall and said, I can't move. And the other side of my mind said, even if you can move, where will you go? As soon as you walk out the door, you're going into birth, death, disease, and old age. And if you stay here and chant and dance, then you're getting eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Where is there to go? I can't move, so I stayed here. So anyway, Prabhupada is emphasizing this point over and over again, that the demigods are not independent, they depend on Krishna. Krishna is the real enjoyer of all sacrifice. Bhoktaram Jagatapasam. So the residents of Kusadweep are not foolish like the ordinary materialist. They know that Agni-Deva is simply a representative of the Supreme Lord. So they're praying in that manner. In fact, Prabhupada said, if you want to worship the demigods, and there's so many mantras in Brahma Samhita. What is that? I can't remember, but you worship the sun, he's a representative of, he's one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord. He's mounting the Kala Chakra by the order of Krishna, by order of Govinda. Govinda Mari Prushantamaham Bhajami. And there's one for Maya also, that she's keeping all living in his under illusion by the order of Krishna. Because these are beautiful monks. They all end in Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. They always recognize Krishna as supreme. So I was thinking I was going to give class yesterday, but anyway, today's Dwadasi, because part of this pastime happened on a Dwadasi day. How many people have been to Bahulavan? But no one has ever been to Bahulavan. You've been? You must have been on Brajbandha Prikama. Hardly anyone goes there. It's very, very sweet little forest. One of the 12 forests, Bahulavan. Just after you go across the bridge on the way to Radhakund, if you turn back behind the bridge, and there's a road to the right that goes all the way to Bahulavan. Bahulavan is named after a cow whose name was Bahula. Therefore the fair forest became Bahulavan. And one time Ekadasi came, just like yesterday was a very special Ekadasi, Shayan Ekadasi. All the demigods go to sleep. So as far as karma kanda activities are all prohibited in Chaturmasya. Because all the demigods are asleep. For making spiritual advancement is a wonderful time. Especially Kartik. But all the ordinary materialists, they're afraid of Chaturmasya to do any auspicious activity, karma kanda activity. Anyway, it was Ekadasi. And Bahula, she was very, very pregnant. And she decided to do Nirjal. Anybody did Nirjal yesterday? At least one, all right. She decided to do Nirjal. Now for the pregnant ladies, we don't recognize this, but we don't recommend this, but she was a very, very pious cow. So somehow she was doing Nirjal. Early in the morning of Dwadasi day, today's Dwadasi, she gave birth to her calf. The whole day she was fasting even from water. Then early in the morning she went through the trauma of childbirth. So afterwards she was very, very thirsty. So she went to the water hole to get water to drink. Now if you watch the Discovery Channel, you know the water hole is where all the predators hang out. Because they know the animals will come to drink water, then they'll pounce on them. So she was drinking water, and suddenly a big lion jumped. And she bowed before that lion and said, "Look, I haven't given the first milk to my calf. Please let me go. I promise I'll come back and then you can eat me." Because just after giving birth, the first milk that the cows give is only meant for the calves. Even the commercial dairies know that it's not meant for human consumption. It's only for it's filled with nutribiotics. We have antibiotics against life, but nutribiotics to encourage life. So please let me go, I promise. So although lions are very ferocious, somehow they have some reputation of being noble. Says, all right, you go feed your calf and then you come back. Make it quick. Meanwhile, I'll do my Facebook. So she went back to her calf and she was feeding him milk. And she was crying. So the calf asked his mother, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Because this is the last time I will see you. Hare, why is that? And then she explained, I promised that I would come back and the lion would eat me. No, let me go instead. Huh? You're my mother, you gave me life. How can I see your life end? I said, no, you have your whole life in front of you. I'll go. No, I'll go. So they were arguing like this. The cowherd boy came. He saw his cow and calf were arguing. And he heard the argument, something about going to a lion. And when he understood, he said, no, you're my cow. You have given me milk all my life. How can you die? Let me go. No, let me go. Huh? This obviously wasn't Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, if there's a way out, some way out of a difficult situation, all right, yeah, you go. So all three were arguing. So then all three went to the lion. And the lion was so surprised, he looked up. He's only expecting one, he saw three. And all of them began praying to the lion, please eat me. No, you spare my cow, you please eat me. No, you spare my mother, you please eat me. The lion was so surprised. Then at that moment, Krishna appeared on the scene. And he explained everything. The one time the demigods, they were watching a performance. There was two Gandharvas named Hu and Ha. It's actually in the Shastras, Hu and Ha. And I think it was Parthasarthi came along with Narad Muni. And as soon as he entered the assembly, all the demigods stood up. Except for Hu and Ha. So Parthasarthi became very angry. Hare, everyone else stood up because we came. You didn't stand up. You're just like humans. No respect. Like animals. Therefore you should become animals. And Hu said, wait a minute. You're a great yogi, you're Trikalagya. You go back in time and see within your heart, whether within our hearts, we were busy doing our performance. Within our hearts we performed sastang pranam. So he sat in meditation and he saw actually Hu and Ha had paid their sastang pranams to him. He said, what can I do now? I cannot take back the curse. But I will also go, and this Narad Muni, he didn't stop me. He will also go. This earth was a witness, he will also go. So Hu became the cow. And Narad Muni became the cowherd boy. Or no, he was the calf. And Parthasarthi became the cowherd boy. And then Krishna played his flute and everyone... Oh, those became the cow, yeah. Then Krishna played his flute and revealed the identity of everyone. So if you go there, you'll find there's a little marble plaque on the side of the opposite ghat, on the opposite ghat. Mother Earth became the cow, Hu became the lion. I'm sorry, Mother Earth was the cow, Hu became the lion. Narad Muni became the cowherd boy. Something I can't remember just now. One became the calf and one became the lion. I think Hu became the lion. So you see this little plaque there, Krishna is there playing on his flute, this lion is there, this cow is there, this calf is there, this cowherd boy is there. So this forest, not very close to our temple, hardly we ever go there, very close to our temple. Then the question always comes, what happened to Haha? Who became the lion? So what happened to Haha? Haha, he became the crocodile in Gajendra Moksha Leela. He became the crocodile in Gajendra Moksha Leela. Okay. Sri Krishna's wonderful pastimes ki. So we have a few more minutes if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask. Yes. Where's our Bhakta mic? Bhakta mic is working, okay. Doing his service.
Thank you for a very nice class and very nice story, Prabhuji. My question is that in pursuance of your story, if someone is if he's karma karya parayana, if he's like devoted to the kama karyas, and it's chaturmasya, but he has the right understanding that this is all for the sake of Krishna. So are those, if he's performing it in that mood, the kama karyas, are those permitted during the chaturmasya?
Interesting question. Well, according to Karma Kanda, it's not permitted, but I assume if we have the right understanding, everything is permitted. And still we see no weddings take place during Chaturmasya, nothing, no auspicious sacrifices. But we do special austerities. Some people, many Babajis and sadhus, they follow from today the Kadasi. We have 4 different vrats for Chaturmasya. That we follow from the Purnima, which is coming in a few days. The first vrat is we don't take any sag. And then next month I think is milk or yogurt. Yogurt. Then next month is milk, and then finally urd dal. Especially in Kartik, they follow special vrats. One time somebody asked Prabhupada, should we follow all these special vrats in Kartik? And Prabhupada said, you have enough trouble as it is, why do you want more trouble? Anyway, it's an interesting question, I'll have to research that. That's the best answer I can give.
Hare Krishna. Desire to go home, back to God comes like Anya Bhilasha Sutram, or is it in Moksha category? Or is it
go back to home, back to God? That's not exactly material desire. It's better than desiring material things. But eventually we know from Mahaprabhu's prayer, Mama Janmani Janmani Ishwari, let me take birth after birth. Just give me pure devotion to your feet. So we're completely pure. In the beginning, it's better than desiring some material thing. At least, now we're completely entrapped by material desire. So if we desire to go back to home, back to God, that's better. But our ultimate goal is Mama Janmani Janmani Ishwari. Let me take birth after birth. Just let me remember your lotus feet. So if there's no other questions, we can all fall down to the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of that great personality who's given us the correct understanding of everything. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna